New rules will change race strategy. The track has a reputation like no other. She's been called many things over the years, but only one word is needed: Darlington. Over the years, few have been able to figure out the track they call too tough to tame. But now, one man seems to be able to put the pieces together: Dale Earnhardt. His first win on this track was 9 years ago in 1982. His aggression here is not a tactic, it's an instinct. He's been able to move to the runner-up spot in total number of wins at this 1.3-mile oval. Earnhardt has visited victory lane 6 times in the last 10 events, and he swept both races here last year. Today, he goes for 4 straight wins, and his competitors begin to ask, is he too tough to tame? Will the defending Winston Cup champion continue the win streak? The 1991 Transouth 500 is next. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina, it's the Transouth 500. And what a beautiful day we have here in South Carolina. Warm temperatures, partly cloudy skies, and no chance of rain. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Darlington as ESPN resumes its Winston Cup coverage for 1991. And what an appropriate place to do so. This was the very first super speedway built for NASCAR racing back in 1950. There have been 75 races here. Only 30 men have visited this hallowed ground, victory lane, here at Darlington. Today, Dale Earnhardt could tie a record for consecutive wins at a super speedway if he can pull his black number 3 into victory lane here in about 4 hours' time. Now, to begin the 42nd season of racing here at Darlington, let's go down to the starting line for that famous command.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
"40 cars fired to life as the 5th Winston Cup race of the year is about to begin. This new season has brought new pit rules and a new strategy for teams racing on this historic facility. With more on that, one of our 2 pit reporters today, Dr. Jerry Punch.
You're absolutely right, Bob. You know, the face of this famous old lady in black hasn't changed much over the years. Still the infamous turn 4 with that concrete wall that's going to reach out and bite you. But the complexion of how you run a 500-mile race has changed drastically in 1991 with the new pit rules. Kenny Schrader's conservatism at Rockingham in Atlanta allowed him to finish second and first purely on efficiency, fuel mileage. Thus, some crew chiefs today think if they can run 74 laps, that's 101 miles a year, they can make this 500-mile race on only 4 stops. There are other crew chiefs in the garage area who think that strategy is totally ludicrous because tire wear will be a major factor. Now, not these tires, hopefully, although this track is so tough, these tires could come into play, but tire wear on the race cars. So the pit rules having a major impact on 500-mile race strategy. For more on what those rules actually are this week, let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, the new pit road rules for 1991 have undergone another change this week. No longer will the cars be designated odd or even by virtue of its starting position. You can change tires following a caution immediately after you take the green flag at the start-finish line. But you cannot change tires under caution unnecessarily. That means if you have a flat and you do come in to change the tires, you will have to come in within 4 laps after the race goes back to green and change those tires once again. And Ned and Benny, you both raced at this old racetrack. How's that going to affect the strategy today?
John, when Ned and I raced, the strategy was when your car started slipping and sliding, come in, get some new tires. Now the guys are trying to force the issue and stay out there 75 laps on a tank of fuel. Can they run that far here, Darlington?
I don't think they can, Benny. It's going to be awfully tough. At Atlanta, a 1.5-mile track, only a few of them was able to stretch it that far. This is a shorter track. They run a lower gear ratio, which makes the car use more fuel.
And, you know, I don't know how to play chess, but when I talk to the crew members down in the garage here, they're all saying it's a chess game. We're going to wait for this guy to make a move. We're going to counter with our move. But somebody's going to make that first move.
Well, they do, and I think some of them will make a move pretty early. They're going to want to get those tires off of those cars as quickly as they can because the drivers are going to be having a tough time out there, and some of them might even stop after 50 laps. That makes them make more pit stops during the race, but The ideal thing, I think, would be run 61 laps. That way you can do it on 5 pit stops. I think some of them will be doing that. Now, take Junior Johnson. Both of his cars on the front row here for the Transouth 500 for the first time since 1984 when Darrell Waltrip and Neil Bonnet were on the front row at North Wilkesboro. Now, you don't think Junior would use one of those cars for one kind of strategy and the other one for another kind?
Believe me, he will do whatever it takes to win, and that might be a good strategy.
The field begins to move away for a couple of warm-up laps before we get the green flag for 367 laps of competition, 500 miles in the Trans-South 500. Let's take a look now at how they'll line up for today's race. The diehard starting grid has Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York on the pole, his second consecutive at this race, alongside his teammate for Junior Johnson, Sterling Marlin, in car number 22. The second row, Daytona 500 winner Ernie Irvin, and alongside him the most recent winner in Winston Cup at Atlanta, Ken Schrader. Harry Gant, who's won this race twice, will start fifth. Alan Kowicki will start alongside in the sixth position. Starting seventh, Dale Earnhardt, going for win number 4 in a row. Alongside in the fourth row, Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York, number 26. It's Darrell Waltrip on the inside of the fifth row, and his brother Michael Waltrip alongside outside of the fifth row. Davey Allison will start in 11th position in car number 28, the Haviland Ford, and Mark Martin will start alongside in car number 6, the Folgers Coffee Ford. Now we take a look at the rest of the starting lineup. Ricky Rudd, who is second in the point standing, starts in the inside of row number 7. And there are some pretty good competitive drivers that will be starting in the middle part and the back of the field. As you see the field filing down the backstretch, the drivers beginning to warm up their tires and get set for the track too tough to tame.
Talk about warming up the tires, Bob. Once they get under green flag conditions, they warm up in a hurry. Maybe I'll elaborate just a bit further on the tire wear. It's not that Goodyear doesn't have good tires here, but this track is so tough on tires that it wears them and heats them up. And when they heat up, they slow down a lot. That's why they'll want to get those tires off and get new ones on as quickly as possible.
Let's take a look at the track they'll be racing on. It's 1.366 miles in length. The pole speed was 161.9, not quite a record. The pole time was 30.37 seconds. We'll go 367 laps. The field is separated by only 11.9 miles per hour. Now, you'll notice that there are 2 pit roads, one on the front stretch, one on the back stretch here at Darlington. And although it looks like a perfectly shaped oval, it is not. It is an egg-shaped oval. The banking different in turns 1 and 2. The banking is at 25 degrees. And you go down to turns number 3 and 4, and the banking is at 23 degrees. So you really can't set up a car to be competitive all the way around the racetrack. You have to make some adjustments someplace.
As we're looking at the in-car camera, this is turns 1 and 2. This is the small end of the egg. Going down to 3 and 4, that's the large end of the egg.
We're in Dale Jarrett's car. One of the bumper cams on his. Mark Martin, as you can see, is just ahead of him in the Folgers Ford, and now we go inside that car. Mark will carry one of the in-car cameras for us this afternoon. And there is Lake Speed, who has taken over driving on the number 66 car as he carries the Phillips 66 in-car camera for us. Lake Speed in this car that's owned